This was a very tricky review slash first impressions to get into because Legend of the Galactic Heroes has been a franchise, a series that I've heard about for a very long time. This is a series that a lot of people consider to be like one of the pinnacles of like anime. It's like one of the best space opera like dramas that have ever been. That like I know a lot of people that have come to me and said this is my favorite anime period. And there was a remake has just recently come out for the series, which like a lot of people were very weirded out by. Was like, I don't know how they're going to adapt this, how it's going to be compared to the classic, how it everything, because a lot of things change. Like the original series came out in like 90, like this is a OVA franchise that came out, I believe it was like into the late 80s and then finished in 97. Like we're talking about a franchise that is over like 30 years. Like that is almost 30 years old, and it's the way how you handle that, or it's like, well, how are we going to, handle some of this material? How are we going to bring it into the modern age? And I'd like to say, especially, they handled it very well. Because to give clarification as well, I have never seen the original Legend of Galactic Heroes, and this is my first coming into this remake. So what I did to kind of give more of the clear comparisons to this one, for this first episode one, because I know a lot of people are going to be, you should watch the original, definitely watch that. Oh, the remake as well has some things on there. So what I've done for this video, I have watched I started with the 2018 version, I've started with that, and now I have watched the first episode of the original series, so I can get a little bit of clarification on there, and I can definitely see on some points where both sides are coming from, but I think I should give a little more clarification about the story before I kind of start mentioning about comparisons. The story is about a giant 100 plus year war that has been like going around two interstellar like powerhouses, which is what we've been mainly seeing in the remake, which was we got to see the Galactic Empire and the Free Planets Alliance. There was another situation, like another third kind of like faction like involved in this from what we get to see, but they are remaining neutral to this war, and we kind of are seeing this war play out between the Galactic Empire and like the Free Planets Alliance. And we, from the 2018 version, get to see this a lot from the Galactic Empire state of situation, where we get to meet I'd like to say a main character, but I think this, like, how definitely with, like, both episodes and all that portrayed is that we're going to be seeing this from multiple perspectives. So I'll say our main protagonist of, like, the Galactic Empire side, the one we'll be seeing the most, and that is Reinhardt, like, which, by the way, there are some German as hell names in this series, who is the young, like, emperor and, like, kind of leader of their faction, who is a genius. Like, you get to see this immediately from the start with Reinhardt, is that he is a tactical genius, and that he, like, as a young admiral, he knows what he is doing, and you can see that this upsets a lot of his higher-ups, a lot of more, like, it's like, oh, this shitty, noble brat, like aristocratic piece of shit, and it's like, he doesn't know, and it's like, you're seeing where it's like the new blood is coming in, and you're seeing like kind of the old wither and die, where it's like, no, he's actually coming up with new strategies and they're working, and he's throwing it in front of their face. You get to see as well, especially like where he doesn't have a lot of friends, a lot of allies in like the Galactic Empire, apart from one of his main like closest friends, like which is Kilichai Siegfried, which we see a little bit about him. And I will say this through a comparison shot, the clear fucking difference between him in the 2018 version and in the 80s version is completely different. Like, it is like a one-to-one. Looking at both of them is insane, where it's like, those two don't even look like the same characters, so I can definitely see where people are coming from with that. But I don't mind both versions, but that kind of took me out of it there a little bit. And we get to see, like, from here, like, whereas like they are in a situation where they've got three forces against them. They're outnumbered, but each three forces are better, like not as much as like the overall standing forces of the Galactic Empire. And he comes up with the idea, is like, we're going to use this because they think we're going to buy time, we're going to hold a position. No, we're going to go straight in, we're going to charge in, disrupt communications, make sure that they're not prepared to activate the shields, go in, blast them. We want to eradicate them from the side of the map. And they use this scenario where it's like, and even into the point where it's like they got attacked, they got wiped out our front force, and then there was playing around like, yes, but now we need to think whether or not the enemy is going to think we're going to go straight from the left side or to the right. We need to know and all that where they're going to think. And one thing that's interesting, like as I mentioned, this is all from the first of the 2018 version. This is all coming from like Reinhardt's kind of side. This is all coming from the Galactic Empire and seeing a lot of them. We don't really get to see too much of like the Free Planets. We don't get to see so much of the Free Planets Alliance, and it's interesting because in the original version, we like I'm going by first episode, like we see multiple people's perspective. We see, which seems to be one of the other main characters, which is Yang Wen Li, who is barely, he is barely in the 2018, like the first episode. We get to see his plans and how he's pretty much been like, I am now in charge of this ship. I am now in charge of like the like this entire alliance right now. Like what this situation of this battle. How like I believe like he is, his current rank is a Commodore. Like that was his actual official rank. And the fact of the matter is that we saw the in the 2018 version, the like how the episode ends is like, oh no, like you get to see it's like where Reinhardt's like, I've walked completely into his trap, and how it was like we think that we were winning as he was like splitting, like just decimating the forces. So that is something very interesting to see, because the original first episode we were still in the middle of that battle, because we were getting introduced to a numerous amount of characters, and then this we're seeing a lot of the war just already play out. So it was definitely interesting on there. I definitely as well I'd like to say I was really hooked into watching the episode. I was like looking around. I love space. I love like battles and all that. It's kind of one of the reasons I liked 79 a lot, because I knew from the start that I was going to come into seeing this series as like this franchise as like I'm not going to be seeing it just from Reinhardt's perspective or even Siegfried's perspective. I was going to be seeing this from multiple other characters, and it's interesting if that the new series, if that's going to handle it, because obviously like when I was watching the original, I was seeing how like they were going line to line with some of that stuff, where I was like talking about the stars and like, how a lot of the characters act. But it's interesting how they swap a few events, and even afterwards I watched this, I ended up talking to a couple of people on Twitter about this, and they were mentioning that yeah, the first 2 odd episodes as well has a few issues here and there on the series, which which are from people that revere this as like a classic. This is like a fantastic series. But I will say the original, there's a lot of things you're being introduced to. Of course, it's the first episode of the series, of a very big series, where you are seeing how many people are involved in this conflict. While the first one, I feel like now in the 2018 version, because obviously like it wouldn't be interesting if they didn't at least try and do differences, if they don't try and add in. And I'm saying, like, straight up, so far, like, yeah, people can have complaints about the designs. I can clearly see that. I can see where it's like, no, we're gonna miss this interaction with these characters, and I can fully understand that as well, because clearly this series is not going to be as long as like 110 episodes. That is a very big commitment for something even as well, like production IG that have done stuff like that. But even still, I can fully understand where the original side of the argument is coming from. But what they do to make up for it, I really do like. Like, obviously, there's a huge update with, like, a lot of more, like, details in the battles and all that we see. Like, that is something that is, like, that's... Obviously, that's going to be a change of time. You can see all the battle of the ships, the dreadnoughts going around, blasting shit. It was nice. I will say, like, I don't mind the music in the 2018 version, but, like, I did like the more orchestral kind of soundtrack that we got from like the original first episode. Like, I will definitely say that much. And the voice actors, I think, are pretty much the same. Like, from what I know, it's like they're a lot of them are keeping the same. I think, although some of them did pass away, so there's obviously going to be some replacements. But there wasn't any like there wasn't any like, oh, that doesn't sound too good there, and this is the thing, like I am trying if anything like on this one, and this is the thing, which is like I am definitely taking a lot of this into perspective as that this is a first episode of a franchise I don't really know about, and there are of course many things I'm going to be missing out on, little nods and little winks here and there, and it's like I don't know about this character or how they're going to be handled in this version. So I definitely want to keep up with this show. I definitely want to keep up with the 2018 version. I did like it. I liked it a lot. Like, considering that the few out of the new shit I've seen, out of like the one I saw was Fist of the Blue Sky. Yeah, this is amazingly better than that fucking piece of shit's first episode. This is so much an improvement, and it's like, when you come to a remake, I feel like it shouldn't be a one-to-one for doing the same thing over and over again. There are stuff that you can add to characters. There are things that as well, maybe that could have been changed. Maybe that, like, that's how I feel about with like remakes and all that. Like, whereas like you can definitely change things and you can like add additions to it. Like, that's what I feel like. It shouldn't, like, you want to keep the same beats and all that, same things that made the series great, but add more to it and all that, then take away. So what I am going to be doing is I will be watching the original from now on. Like, I after the first like episode of that as well, I'm really I am hooked in, and I definitely want to watch it. There's a lot of anime now that I really want to start checking out. So I will be watching this, and it'll be weird coming into this like week to week, where it'll be like I am now like 20 episodes in, like after like 5 episodes or so of the 2018 version. But I will say I do like the opening from both versions. I definitely do like both of them a lot and all that. And especially the ending. I love the portrait in the 2018 version. That really is like, I like that a lot. But yeah, I definitely say like, I'm curious about the second episode of the 2018 version a lot, because clearly there were so many differences where it's like we're seeing this all from that one side for the most part. I want to see what the second episode, like, are we going to be seeing more about from Yang Wing Lee's perspective now in the next episode? Is that what we're going to be seeing? And a bunch of like how he sees the situation, because a lot happened. Like, when you see a lot of those battles happening, like, Yang had quite a bunch of shit happen to him in that first episode. So definitely I want to see how this goes down, and like overall I'm very much looking forward to seeing more of this franchise. But the people, I will say, for a first episode on there, I would definitely recommend it. I would definitely recommend the first episode. However, though, if you are an old fan of the series, and if the designs really, like, because some of them look like completely different fucking characters, it's unreal. Like, I will say, if that affects you and hurts you like too much, or it's like, no, this is how I picture that character, then I wouldn't recommend it. And also as well, like, if you are like not acceptable to changes, or you want it to be like repeat of like the same series, then I cannot recommend it. I am worried when it said that there's going to be movies for this as well, and that there's going to be like, it's going to be shorter, but then again, we are 1 episode into this, and the first episode was good in both sides. And like I said, I wanted to do this video because I thought it'd be an interesting perspective to come in clean from this series, clean from both sides. So yeah, it's going to be interesting as I start watching more of it from now on. So yeah, I want to know what you guys think though, because yeah, like both sides, it blew me away. I was really surprised at how much I really liked both episodes, really. So yeah, definitely would recommend both at the moment. Definitely would recommend like original Galactic Heroes, and definitely as well like the 2018 version so far. But whether or not I can still say that, like, will depend on how much I watch from both franchises. So that's all from me though. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you guys though next time.